Okay, let's start. Please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we will start to learn different type of Cittas, right? Different type of consciousness. So I hope you understand about ultimate realities and conventional reality, right? So we are not going back. So now we are going to learn different type of consciousness. So actually, sometimes I may use the word consciousness, or I may use the word Cittas, sometimes the mind. So normally, according to Abhidhamma Sangha, so we have to use consciousness and mental factor to differently, right? But sometimes I may use the word the mind, right? Sometimes if I refer to the mind, it can be consciousness, it can be mental factor, right? Mostly for the Cittas, we translate as the mind, right? So we have 4 classes of consciousness. So we are, in terms of the plane, classified by way of plane, bhumi. So we have 6 sphere consciousness, kama vajra citta. 6 sphere consciousness. Actually, we have it, and I will explain one by one later. So here, 6 sphere consciousness, kama vajra citta. Number 2, 5 material sphere consciousness. So we have a 55 sphere consciousness, and we have 54 6 sphere consciousness. Then number 3, we have 12 immaterial sphere consciousness, and number 4, supramundane consciousness. We have 8 supramundane consciousness. So altogether we have 89. So this is, we are classifying Cittas by way of plane or realms, right? So we have 11 realms. 6 sphere, 11 realms. So we have 65 material sphere realms. So we have 4 immaterial sphere realms. But for the supramundane consciousness, we don't have any realms. We will explain one by one. So these are, we classify consciousness according to the plane, right? According to the plane, 6 sphere consciousness. Let's talk about 6 sphere consciousness. So here, CMME, Emmanuel Abhidhamma. This one. Maybe next week we will distribute this book so that you can read. So that you can read. So I think so CMME, Emmanuel Abhidhamma. So it refers to this book. So it shows you can read about this 6 sphere consciousness as page number 30. So HASME, Handbook of Abhidhamma Study. So volume 1, page number 55. So these are the pages. So if you, after you learn this class, then you can go to those pages and read. Then I will give you I haven't sent you soft copy, right? So I will send you soft copy of those books as well, right? But next week we will distribute manual of Abhidhamma. So what is sense-sphere consciousness? In Pali, Kama Vajra Cheda. Kama Vajra Cheda. Actually, sometimes we might use Pali word. So I think some of the word I think it's better to memorize. Only some, not all the Pali, right? Or the Pali. So sense-sphere consciousness. So we have 54, sorry, not 45, 54. We have 54 kinds of sense-sphere consciousness. So those consciousness frequently arise in the 11 planes or 11 realms. Actually, we have a 54 type of sense-sphere consciousness. So those chetas or consciousness frequently arise, generally arise in the 11 realms. In the 11 realms. So also, these cheta may arise in other planes as well. As you know, number one, we have 11 realms. So those 54 consciousness arises in the 11 realms generally. But it may arise other realms as well. Rupa and Arupa, right? 5 material realm, it may arise. It may arise. And also immaterial sphere realms, right? It may arise. So therefore, they are called as a sense-sphere consciousness. So here, for 11 planes, I think briefly, so you can remember we have 6 heavenly realms, and also human realms, and we also have woeful plane, 4 woeful planes, so altogether 11. So those consciousness or chetas generally occurs in those realms, right? Because in those realms, so everything is connected with the sense. So when I see something, then unconsciousness arises. So unconsciousness is called sense-sphere consciousness because it's connected with senses, right? That if I hear the sound, I have ear sense. So in this way, ear consciousness arises. So ear consciousness is among the 54 type of consciousness, right? So therefore, they are called sense-sphere. They are connected with the senses, right? Based on the senses, these consciousness arises. So regarding with the karma, so I think it is good to know about 2 type of karma. Number 1, Vuttu karma. So objective sentientness. So that is the 5 external sense objects. Something you see, that is called karma. Something you hear, the sound, that's also called karma. And something you smell, something you taste and touch. So all these are called karma, right? Actually, we are learning consciousness, or we are learning the mind. So therefore, we don't need to take this one, objective sentientness. So what we have to take is number 1. Number 2, type of karma, subjective sensuality. So that is kilesa karma, craving for sense pleasures. Craving for sense pleasures. So when we experience with our the objects, outside objects, with our senses, then there is a type of mind that arises. So those are called karma. But here, generally karma means craving for sense pleasures, because the sentient beings who are living, who have those type of consciousness, generally they have craving. Craving means desire, right? Desire to see something. So those are Kamavachara Cheda, sense sphere consciousness, and desire to hear something. So you have those type of minds. So those minds are called sense sphere consciousness because they are connected with the senses. They are connected with the craving for sense pleasures, right? So we have number 2, 5 material sphere consciousness. Dubhavachara Cheda. So we have 50 type of 5 material sphere consciousness, which arise mostly in the 60 planes. So we can call them Rupa Jhana Chetas. Rupa represent the realm. Jhana is a if we translate it simply, it's a meditation. So when you meditate, so in the higher level you can attain those type of consciousness. So those are called jhanas. So I think so 50 type of 5 material consciousness. So they normally arise 60 planes. Of course, when you meditate in human realm, also you can attain those consciousness. But we are talking in general, right? So therefore it is called avachara. Avachara means frequently arising. Frequently arise only in 60 planes. 60 planes. Actually, strictly speaking, so it is only 50 planes. Rupa Loka, we call it Rupa Loka. Rupa Ram, right? Rupa Ram. So normally we are 60, but one Rams does not have any mind. So it has only the body, material form. So therefore, in that Ram, except in that Rams, we have 50 Rupa planes, Rupa Rams. So these 50 type of 5 material consciousness generally arise in those realms. So therefore it is called Dubhavachara Cheda, 5 material consciousness. So yeah, I want to explain about 5 material. Why we use 5 material? Normally these Rupa Jhana Chetas, so when you want to attain jhanas, Rupa jhanas, so you have to meditate using one meditation object. Suppose when you are meditating using in-breath and out-breath, so you have to use it. So at the beginning, so when you are breathing in and when you are breathing out, it is too obvious. You have to make a lot of effort. So that in-breath and out-breath is not subtle. It is very, it is gross, right? Gross or rough. It's obvious. It's not subtle. It's not refined. So as you are practicing, then you are in-breath and out-breath getting subtler and subtler, getting refined and refined. So in this way, so at a certain level, you will attain the first jhana. So when you attain the first jhana, so you are in-breath and out-breath is very tranquil and also very refined. So therefore, it is called Rupa, fine material. So it is not like seeing the object. It's not like hearing the sound. So when you attain jhanas, so your senses are not working with the sense with the external objects. So you are just using in-breath and out-breath, right? So when you attain the first jhana, so your breathing is stable, settle and settle, settler and settler, right? Then second jhana, more refined, and third jhana, more refined. But when you attain the fourth jhana, there is no in-breath and out-breath. So there is no in-breath and out-breath. You are not breathing at all. So refined that. So breathing does not occur at that level. But you are using material. Material means in-breath and out-breath is called material form. Rupa, right? Rupa. You still using. You use it as a meditation object, right? Meditation object. But when you arrive fourth jhana, so your meditation object is a breathing, no more. So therefore, it is called fine material, right? Fine material, very refined. Another one is the akasina. Akasina. Actually, this is one type of meditations. So actually, you can use different type of meditations. For those who are prefer in breath and out breath, you can do so. But some people prefer to meditate on the quality of the Buddha and the quality of the Dhamma and Sangha like this, right? And some people use kasina object. The kasina object. So there is, you find out a clay, then you make it is you put it on the wall as a circle. So you just look at that circle, the art circle. The art circle. So there's no any other thinking or no any other thought. So you have to just focus on the art circle. The art circle, the art. Just in your mind. So just repeat it in your mind. Just think this is the art. So when you are looking at the art circle for a long time, so that circle appear in your mind even when you close your eye, right? So if the art circle appear in your mind, even you close your eye, you can go anywhere. And you close your eye, you visualize that the art circle. So when you are meditating, concentrating on that object for a long time, so that object became very clear and very shining, very shining. So at the end, the art is removed. No, so that object, that circle is not the art at all. Just the circle appear in your mind's eye, right? Actually, at the art level, it is material, right? Material form. But when it go to, when you close your eye, at first you may still appear, you may still see material form, the art, right? But as you go along, when you're practicing, that at the end, the art appear and clay appear, just a shiny circle. So it became very refined, right? So therefore, it is called fine material. So when you meditate, it is no real material form at all. No real material form. It is just concept in your mind. Just concept in your mind. The round circle, a concept in your mind. So just focus on that concept, you meditate on it, right? So therefore, when you attain jhanas, it is called fine material consciousness. So you in your mind, there are so many fine material consciousness in your mind, right? So we have 15. So when you go there, we will learn in details. So we have a different jhana factors. So when you have those factors, when you complete all those factors, you attain jhana, right? You attain jhana. So therefore, we call it 5 material consciousness. So we have 15. Another one, number 3, immaterial sphere consciousness. Arupa vajra cheda. Arupa vajra cheda. Sometimes we may call arupa cheda, right? So the first one is kama cheda. So we have 54. And second one, rupa cheda. We have 15. Then now, immaterial sphere consciousness, we might call it arupa cheda. It's easier, I think, right? It's easier. Arupa cheda. We have a tre arupa cheda. So those three type of immaterial consciousness frequently arises in the 4 planes. So we have 4 arupa planes, 4 arupa realms, right? So those consciousness generally occurs in those planes. So therefore, they are called immaterial consciousness. So actually, these are arupa jhana chetas. Arupa jhana chetas. So jhana means the consciousness arises because of your meditation. Because of your meditation, it's called jhana, right? So arupa jhana chetas. What is immaterial? So those rupa jhana chetas can be attained by using formless meditation objects, such as the infinity of space, the infinity of mind, etc. So we have 4 objects to meditate to attain arupa jhana chetas. We have 4 objects. So the first one is infinity of space. Actually here, the meditator doesn't want any material form. He doesn't like it. So therefore, he tries to stay away with the material form. So remember that. So when you are practicing kasina, the art kasina sake, right? Kasina sake. So at the initial level, you close your eye, then you stay appear, you stay can see the art material, the art material. Then as you go along, though the art disappear, the only shiny sake, right? Shiny sake. So that shiny sake is not real material form. So that is, we call it panyati, concept in our mind. So it is an image in our mind. So actually, this is not real material form. But meditator, for those who doesn't like material form, he even doesn't like that shiny sake, that concept. Therefore, he want to remove that meditation object. So he thinks that by contemplating, by meditating on that object, the mind is not stable enough. The mind is still shaking, not stable yet. So therefore, he wants to discard that object. So the method is have to enlarge. It is only 1 feet sake. Initially, it is only 1 feet sake. So you want to remove that sake in your mind's eye. So therefore, trying to enlarge in your mind. Only in your mind, right? Only in your mind. Initially, it is only 1 feet sake. And trying to enlarge 10 feet. Trying to enlarge the site of Mangala Vihara. Then trying to enlarge the site of Singapore. And trying to enlarge the size of this our planet. So you can make it, you can enlarge as much as you can, right? So when you enlarge, the size of Singapore is too big, right? Very big. Then at the middle of the circle, just a shiny object, right? There's nothing. So by that time, you trying to imagine in your mind that very big circle, right? Shiny circle. Infinity or space. You know, the space doesn't have anything, right? The space between you and the other person, there is a space. In between, nothing, right? Nothing. So therefore, you're trying to imagine that very big circle as a space. Space. Nothing. Space, just space. So in this way, that very big circle became a very big space. Actually, it's just meditating with your mind, right? Just playing with your mind. So by that time, your concentration is very, very sharp, right? So you can do whatever you want. So even that very big circle, you can imagine in your mind's eye is infinity of space. So in this way, he removed the notion of material form, right? Even not real material form. It is material form that appear in your mind, right? You're trying to remove it. So in this way, his mind is free. No attachment to the senses. No attachment to the material form. So I will give you one example. The reason why they practice immaterial jhana, immaterial jhanas. So the reason is, when we see something, when we hear something, we have craving, we have awe, we have hatred, right? He doesn't like those negative emotions. So he thinks that by removing material forms, he can temporarily suspend the rising of craving, rising of awe, hatred. So I will give you one example. You go to East Coast, right? East Coast. But when you go East Coast, you may see a lot of ship, a lot of boat, right? And some island. But you go to very far remote place, not in Singapore, maybe in Australia. You go there and you go near the ocean. But in your eye, just see the ocean, right? Just see the ocean. Nothing. No island, no people, no ship, nothing. If there is nothing, there is no chance for craving, right? No chance for craving. Just like that. So the reason why they practice immaterial jhana is so to stay away from craving, right? Craving. So therefore, in that jhana state, there is no even material, material form appear in our mind's eye, already disappear, right? So therefore, he used formless meditation objects. Formless means no form. Just here, the infinity of space, total space, right? There's no form. Between you and other person, space, right? No material form, like this. So therefore, we call it immaterial sphere consciousness. So in that realm, there is no material form. So the living being there, so they live only with the mind, right? Only with the mind. So therefore we call it arupa. Arupa means immaterial. They don't have any material form. But in Rupa realm, in Rupa realm, Rupavasa realm, of course they have a form, and they can see, they can hear, right? They can hear. The last one is supramundane consciousness. Lokapala Sayadaw. Supramundane consciousness. So we have 8 types of consciousness. So they transcend three worlds or 3 planes. So as you know, we have Kama Loka, Rupa Loka, Arupa Loka. Kama Ram, Rupa Ram, Arupa Rams. Actually, none of these consciousness are nothing to do with those realms. They transcend. They go beyond. Actually, it's hard to explain. So I think when you attain one of these consciousness, so your mind is liberated from craving toward those 3 types of realms. Therefore, transcendental state, right? Transcendental state. So they are so called because they go beyond sphere of 3 worlds. So sometimes, as I said, so when somebody attains Rupa jhana, he doesn't have any desire to enjoy with these senses. He just enjoys his meditative state of mind. So therefore, I often said that, so actually our happiness in the human realm, in the heavenly realms. So our happiness dependent on the people, dependent on the objects, right? Our happiness dependent on the weather and political situations, like this. So actually, we have to depend so many people, so many things, right? So if the people or the thing that you depend on, not behaving the way you don't like, then our happiness is gone, right? Our happiness is gone. So therefore, of course, we have happiness. We can enjoy with our eye, with our ear, with our tongue, right? Eating a good food like this. We can enjoy it. We have happiness, right? So our happiness is dependent on objects. The food. If the food is not good, so your happiness is gone, right? This is an example. You see, of course, you love your children, right? You love your children. So your children are the source of your happiness. But sometimes they will not behave the way you like. Then your happiness is gone, right? You're frustrated and you're irritated. So therefore, happiness in karma realm. It is not stable, right? Not stable. But when you attain Rupa jhana, of course, you don't need to depend on outside objects. You sit and you meditate, and you can enjoy the bliss of jhana, right? So there is the happiness. But stay dependent on the mind. So actually that meditative mind, meditative consciousness is not stable. You need to make a lot of effort, right? Make a lot of effort. But if you cannot do it, of course, it's here, you will suffer. But it's not like the first one, right? But happiness is getting higher. But we still have to depend on the mind. State of the mind, right? And arupa, of course, arupa, So you stay away from material forms. Your happiness is getting stable, but of course you still have to depend on the mind. Depend on the mind, right? So therefore, but when you attain a type of supramundane consciousness, you don't need to rely on anything. You can experience the bliss of Nibbana without mind, without senses. So therefore, Nibbana don't need to rely on anything. So therefore it is called anisita, right? Independent. So your happiness is independent. So however the people behave to you or treating badly to you, so your happiness will not be affected. However, the weather, the food, the clothes, and the family member, everyone, right? Everything. So your happiness is not shaking, right? So therefore, Nibbana is anisita. So when you attain one of these consciousness, so you can experience Nibbana. You can experience the bliss of Nibbana when you attain those one of these type of consciousness, right? So therefore, it is called Lokodra. They transcend 3 walls or planes. The rest of the chetas, we make kama cheta, rupa cheta, arupa cheta. The rest of the chetas are called mundane consciousness because they arise in the sphere of 3 realms, 3 walls. So they cannot transcend. They are still within the 3 realms, right? 3 realms. So therefore, they are called mundane consciousness. Really, some people do not like the word supramundane and mundane. But anyway, we have to use it. We have a limitation of the word, right? Some people use transcendental consciousness. And some people may use spiritual consciousness like this, right? So anyway, we will stay to these consciousness, these terms. So here, Lokodra. Loka means the world. So the world means 3 worlds. Kama world and Rupa and Arupa. So these type of consciousness are nothing to do with, not within the sphere of those 3 worlds, right? Any question? Okay, no question right there. You got it? Okay, I need for those who are new and bit difficult, right? So I think when you learn, you will understand, right? What is Lokodra? So to learn that, we have 3 types of worlds. Supramundane consciousness is another definition. So we can explain in this way as well. So supramundane consciousness transcends following 3 worlds. Number 1, the world of beings, Satta Loka. So there is no actually when you attain a type of consciousness, the moment you attain, so actually there is no sentient beings, right? No beings. Number 2, the world of existence. So actually these supramundane consciousness go beyond the sphere of existence, right? 3 type of existence. Number 3, the world of formation, Sankhara Loka. Formation means the conditioned phenomena. So when you have happiness that are connected with the senses, right? So that happiness need conditions, right? Outside objects and condition of your mind, right? Like this. So there are a lot of conditions. So when you attain Rupa and Arupa jhana as well, they need conditions, not without conditions, right? So therefore they are called formation, sankhara. Actually the word sankhara is a little bit complicated. So I think later I will explain the difference between different usage, right? So if you do not understand properly, it's really complicated. So here, condition things. So we can divide the classes on the consciousness by way of nature. So we have 4. Number 1, unwholesome consciousness. Actually, when you know unwholesome consciousness, I think it is good. So you can apply in your daily life. So I think you will understand unwholesome state of mind in detail, right? So I think it's good. This one is good. Unwholesome consciousness, akusala cheda. Number 2, wholesome consciousness, kusala cheda, a good consciousness. And number 1, bad consciousness, right? Number 3, resident consciousness. Because of 1 and 2, because of unwholesome consciousness and wholesome consciousness, there is a reset. So that is called resident consciousness. Number 4, functional consciousness. So the last one is nothing to do with previous 3, just functioning. Actually, I will explain one by one. So when we classify by way of nature, so we have 4 types of consciousness, right? Unwholesome consciousness, wholesome consciousness, resident consciousness, and functional consciousness. So what is unwholesome consciousness? Unwholesome consciousness is consciousness accompanied by one or another of 3 unwholesome roots. Actually, it's very familiar with you. Lobha, right? Greed. Dosa, hatred. Moha, delusion. So if your consciousness is together with those unwholesome root, one of those unwholesome root, so your consciousness is not good, right? Not good. So we have to define stages of our mind based on this one, right? So if your mind is connected with greed, hatred, and delusion, it is not good. It is unwholesome consciousness, unwholesome mind. And some people may translate as an unskillful mind, right? Actually, Mahayana, they prefer to translate unskillful mind. And they are the same, right? So these 3 unwholesome rules are stated by the Buddha separate time in many suttas. So one of the sutta is called Sammaditthi Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 10. I think that sutta is very important. So I will mention very often. Sammaditthi Sutta, right view. So actually, in that sutta, Venerable Sariputta explained, so what is the right view? So the first one is, if you know the root of unwholesome deed, you are doing very, very bad things, right? So what are the causes? What are the root? So if you know it, you have a right view. If you do not know, you have a wrong view, right? Wrong view, like this. So these 3 unwholesome rules are mentioned in many occasions, right? So these are very important. So we can define our status of our mind. So based on these 3 unwholesome roots. So unwholesome chetas are called unwholesome because they are morally blameworthy and protected of painful reset. 2 characteristics. Normally, of course, there are a lot of definitions. Normally, we use only these 2. So the first one, so when you are doing something, it is blameworthy. You are to blame. Find the wise people, not the foolish people. Of course, foolish people may praise you, right? So when you are killing somebody and they will praise you, bravo, like this, right? Not like this. Find the wise people. So that if they are blaming you, so that means you are doing unwholesome deed, right? Unwholesome deed. Recently, a famous Muslim lawyer is killed in Myanmar. I think you might have heard of that, right? As you know, in Myanmar, we have a very extremist Buddhist. They are happy. They are happy to see that, assassination. Actually, some of the most extreme people, even they praise the one who killed that Muslim lawyer. Actually, they are not, I would say they are foolish. I never say they are foolish, right? But many people denounce. Many people denounce this is a terrorism. So we shouldn't do like this, right? So actually it's blame. So if the wise people blame it, so that is unwholesome deed. Actually it's not very good definition. So actually the good definition is based on 3 unwholesome roots, right? And greed, hatred, and delusion. So we have to decide based on these 3 unwholesome roots. But the commentary already define based on these 2 characteristics. So when you're doing something, if the wise people blame you, that is unwholesome deed, right? Not good, don't do it. Another one is protected of painful results. So when you are doing something, it's painful. Suppose you are shouting your children, right? I think it's painful to your children and by yourself as well, right? So it is result, right? Protected of painful result. So you're painful, right? So therefore, all these are called unwholesome Citta. Actually, this is a traditional explanation. Actually, when we use unwholesome root, 3 types of unwholesome root is much better, right? So based on these unwholesome root, we can define unwholesome, right? So what is wholesome consciousness? So we have 4 types of mind, right? Unwholesome Citta, wholesome Citta. So here, wholesome one. Wholesome consciousness is consciousness accompanied by 3 wholesome roots. So here, 3 wholesome roots. Number 1, non-greed. There's no greed in your mind. No greed. So we can, in other words, we can say renunciation. So even you hear unpleasant sounds, your mind is not affected. So that means you renounce, right? You renounce. So those are negative things. So renunciation. Non-greed. Suppose you see a poor people, then you keep away your belongings, right? Your belongings. So in this way, you try to renounce your attachment to your belongings. So therefore, it's called renouncing, right? Renunciation. So it's opposite. The same thing is renunciation and non-greed are the same. Number 2, non-hatred. If you do not have hatred or ill will, that means you have loving kindness. You love people. You love enemies. You love everything, right? Non-hatred. Not only loving kindness, but also patience, like this. All these are called non-hatred. Your patience, because you don't have hatred or ill will, right? Suppose today I late about 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes. for those who are practicing patience, right? If your mind is not affected, that means non-hatred. But if you, of course, actually I'm not saying not to, actually it's not good. Actually I was adding one information, therefore it's late. So what I mean is, just giving an example, right? So while you are sitting, of course you are waiting. Why he does not come down like this, right? That if your mind is irritated or annoyance, right? Non-hatred. If you don't have even that state of mind, non-hatred, non-ill, right? Non-ill. So it's also can call it loving kindness. Number 3, non-delusions. Actually, it's called wisdom, and also we can call it right view. So if you have a right view, if you have wisdom, that means you don't have a delusion. So it's called amoha, aloba, adosa, amoha. So if something is connected with those wholesome roots, so that is called wholesome consciousness. Actually, even there is a exact definition of those terms. So what is aloba? What is adosa? What is amoha? Right? And if you understand definition of Abhidhamma, and you will have a better understanding, right? So I think today I will treat about what is greed. So we have a different levels of greed and different levels of craving. So if you understand different levels, you have a better understanding, right? Better understanding. So such consciousness is called wholesome because it is morally blameless. So if you have compassionate heart, right? Wise people will praise you, and also it will give you a good result. So therefore it is called wholesome consciousness based on 2 definitions, right? Here you may see the word sukha vipaka lakkhana. Sukha means pleasant, vipaka means result. So result of good things, good karma, so you will have a good result. Result is called vipaka. So resident consciousness, both wholesome and unwholesome consciousness constitute karma, called volitional action. So according to Buddhism, so when you take action alone is not karma. How is your motivation, right? It depends on your volitional activity, volition or motivation. Suppose you kill an insect, an incident, without intention, without any motivation. So it is not called karma, according to Buddhism, right? So here karma means volitional action. So you must have volition to kill, volition to steal, right? Volition to do unwholesome deed. Sometimes you are compelled to do it, right? Without any volition or motivation, because of somebody force you, right? Somebody force you. It's not a big karma. It's not a karma. So karma means volitional action. So here, number 1, wholesome consciousness. Number 2, unwholesome consciousness. So these are called karma. You do unwholesome things because of unwholesome consciousness, right? Unwholesome consciousness. So that is the cause, right? The cause. You do good things because of wholesome consciousness, right? The cause, good cause, right? Good cause. So because of those karma, there is the result. So when you're doing good things, a good result, right? That is called vipaka, resident. So when you are doing bad things, and you will experience bad result, right? Bad result. So actually we are talking about consciousness or mental state, right? Mental state. So when we are talking about wholesome, resident, functioning, so you have to take note that we are talking about the mind, status of the mind, right? So here, so when you're doing good or bad things, there will be a resident consciousness. It is called vipaka citta. So the result of wholesome and unwholesome karma. Not physical one. It is just mental, purely mental, right? Purely mental. The next one is functional consciousness. Functional consciousness is neither karma or is resident. It's quite clear. It's another type of citta, right? It involves an activity. Still, actually, you have to give one example. Normally, we have 20 type of functional consciousness according to Abhidhamma. So out of 2, we have 2 consciousness in your mind as a Bodhojana, in my mind as a Bodhojana. Only 2 type of functional consciousness can happen, can occur. The rest of the 80 can arise only in the minds of Arahant, right? So therefore, so when the Arahant do something, just do it because he thinks that he should do it. There is no craving at all. If I do this, I will get this. Not like this, right? Normally, as a Bodhojana, so when we do something, right, then we have expectation or craving. Actually, we are doing a lot of activities, doing a lot of actions with the craving, together with the craving. Of course, sometime, so there is a time that we do something without craving. So we do it thinking that it is our duty to do, right? So in those times, no craving, of course. So your action, your activity is just like a Arahant. So in this way, in one of the sutta, the Buddha said that following the example of Arahant, full moon and new moon day, you should keep a precept. Sometimes we have to follow their example, right? So what I mean is, sometimes, suppose I'm teaching Abhidhamma, I'm teaching that, thinking that I should teach, I should share my knowledge. So actually, this is the example of Arahant. So if I'm teaching Abhidhamma, expecting something, that is not the way Bodhojana do, right? Ordinary people do. So if I'm doing, thinking with the expectation or craving, it's wholesome consciousness, but it's not, right? It's not like the Arahant. But according to Abhidhamma, it's that 2 resident functional consciousness, the rest of 80, right? 80 functional consciousness only can arise in the minds of Arahant, right? Minds of Arahant. So therefore, I think if you look at that example, it's quite clear. So they just do it because they should do it, right? They are preaching the Dhamma. In their mind, they think that they should share their experience. The Buddha go around the country, right? India, many countries at the time, because he do it with the great compassion, without craving. He doesn't have any craving. If I do that, I will have fame. I will have a lot of place to live, a lot of monastery like this, right? So like this, he doesn't have any attachment. So functional consciousness actually is just do. just do it without any volition or good or bad intention, right? Even Arahant do good things, so we cannot call his action as a wholesome action, kusala. We don't have to call. So we have to call functional consciousness, kriya chaita. It involves activity, yet this activity not karmically determinate, because there is no craving when they are doing, right? So in this way, it is not capable of producing karmic result. So as they are doing without craving, so though their action cannot produce result. Result means for future rebirth, right? Like this. So it is called functional consciousness. So I think up to here, so we have learned 4 classes of consciousness based on the plane, right? Karma realm, rupa plane, karma planes, rupa planes, arupa planes, and supramundane planes, right? So actually, normally Abhidhamma also use Lokotara Bhumi. Bhumi actually means planes or realms. Actually, 2 types of planes. So the first one is actual planes, actual realms, human realms, and Deva realms, and Brahma realms. So these are actual realms. So another one is in Pali we call it I forgot Pali. Actually, we classify based on craving. So karma loka, karma consciousness. So when you have that consciousness, you have karma craving, right? So when you have rupa consciousness, so the moment you are meditating, the moment you attain rupa jhanas, in between there is a craving. You crave for jhana, right? It's together with the jhana. So we classify rupa realm based on rupa craving, right? Then another one is arupa realm. So when the moment you are in arupa realm, or the moment you are attaining arupa jhana, you have craving. You crave for it, right? So therefore, we have to we use the word bhumi, the word plane, based on the craving, right? But the moment you attain Lokotara jhana, there is no craving at all. Divide of craving, lack of craving. So based on craving, we consider as a bhumi or plane. Actually, I very often explain that Nibbana is not replaced, right? Nibbana is not replaced. So we have 8 types of supramundane consciousness. So the moment you attain 8 types of supramundane consciousness, you can experience the bliss of Nibbana. It is really exist. So we cannot experience with our mind, with our karma mind. We call it karma mind. We cannot experience. So only when you attain a type of supramundane consciousness, so you can experience with your mind, right? Just like that. So you can imagine 1% in your mind, right? 1% in your mind, just like that. When you attain a type of consciousness, Lokotara Chaitas, then you can experience the bliss of Nibbana, right? So here, another type of classification is, number 1, unwholesome consciousness, akusala chaita. Number 2, wholesome consciousness, kusala chaita. Number 3, resident consciousness, vipaka chaita. Number 4, functional consciousness, kriya chaita. Actually, next week we will, how to say, we'll distribute this one. I think you can read. I think it's good to go with this one. Actually, most of the many of my sentences copy from this book. But of course, some changes. So before we learn wholesome consciousness, so we need to know, before we learn 89 type of consciousness, we need to know 5 type of feeling. What is it? Number 1, feeling caused by physical pleasure. So when you have physical pleasure, then a good feeling arises. So that is called Sukha Vedana. Sukha Vedana. Number 2, it's not in order. So to enumerate 89 chapters, so Abhidhamma Sangha, we were using this one manual, right? A comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma. We will use the word manual. So the manual use 5 type of feeling by way of faculty. Actually, it's not manual. Abhidhamma, I will say Abhidhamma. So Abhidhamma use 5 type of feeling by way of faculties. So when we learn about faculties, so we have 5. So Indriya, so feelings are explained under the 5 categories, right? But normally, in many sutras, the Buddha use emotional aspect. So we have 3 type of feeling. So pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, neutral feeling. So the Buddha normally use only these 3. So when you have pleasant feeling, it is likely to arise attachment, right? Craving. So when you have unpleasant feeling, it's likely to have ill or hatred. So when you have neutral feeling, it's likely to have delusion. You don't know. So because the feeling is not clear to you, avijja or delusion may arise, right? Like this, the Buddha very often explain emotional aspect. But Abhidhamma use faculty method. So there will be 5 type of feeling. Number 1, feeling caused by physical pleasures. So when you have physical pleasures, physically when you are eating a good food, when you are listening a good songs, then you have a pleasant feeling, right? So that is called Sukha Vedana. And number 2, feeling caused by physical pains. When somebody shout at you, right? Physical pain. So they say unpleasant feeling, right? Number 2, mental pleasant feeling. So when you are sitting in the classroom, you think about your pleasant memory, right? Then you have a pleasant feeling in your mind. So in your mind, it may happen, mental pleasant feeling. And also sometimes, even you are watching a very good movie, in between you may think something unpleasant in your mind, right? Unpleasant feeling may arise. Mentally unpleasant feeling. Number 5, neutral feeling, upekha. Neutral feeling can arise only in the mind. Because when neutral feeling means not clear. So when you have pleasant feeling, it's obvious, right? So your feeling is very strong. And when you have unpleasant feeling, the same thing. But the other time, your mind is neutral, not clear, right? Just just feeling. Of course, feeling arises continuously. But based on our faculty methods, we have 5 type of feeling. I think we have to take on this one. Sukha Vedana, Dukkha Vedana, Somanasa Vedana, Domanasa Vedana, Upekha Vedana. I think. Pali, even you do not know the Pali, so I think at least an English, right? An English. So we have 54 Kama Vajra Chetas. Number 1, unwholesome consciousness, Akusala Cheta. We have 12 unwholesome consciousness. Number 2, rootless consciousness. We have 80 rootless consciousness. So there's no root. So we have 3 type of root, right? No, not 3, 6. Unwholesome, 3 type of unwholesome root. Lobha, dosa, moha. 3 type of wholesome root. Alobha, adosa, amoha. So these consciousness are nothing to do with those roots, right? So therefore it is called rootless consciousness. Number 3, sincere, beautiful consciousness. So when you are doing good things, when you are offering dana, so when you are keeping precept, when you are meditating, before you attain jhana, so all these are called sincere, beautiful consciousness. So even you are meditating, so the more before you attain jhana, so all these are called sincere, beautiful consciousness, right? Consciousness. So we have 24. Here, 12 unwholesome consciousness. Number 1, consciousness rooted in greed. Lobha Mula Cheda. We have 8 Lobha Mula Cheda. Number 2, consciousness rooted in hatred. We have 2 Dosa Mula Cheda. Number 3, consciousness rooted in delusion. We have 2. In Sutta Pitaka, you will not find this type of classification. Only Abhidhamma. So therefore, Abhidhamma method is different, right? Is in detail. But Abhidhamma, the Sutta explains, sometimes of course, sometimes too much detail, but sometimes not. So we have a 12 unwholesome consciousness. Greed, consciousness rooted in the greed 8, consciousness rooted in the hatred 2, consciousness rooted in delusion number 2. All these are 12, right? So we'll go one by one. So 8 consciousness rooted in greed. I think we have to learn this one first. Number 1 consciousness. Number 1 consciousness accompanied by joy. Actually here, I forgot to write Pali. Somanasa. Somanasa means mental pleasant feeling, right? Mental pleasant feeling. 1 consciousness accompanied by joy. So this is very important. Joy is very important. Joy or pleasant feeling, very important. Associated with the wrong view, deity is very important here. Associated with the wrong view, unprompted, right? So there is 1 consciousness. Another one is different, prompted, right? The rest are the same. 1 consciousness accompanied by joy, associated with the wrong view, prompted, right? In the way you can remember. The next one, dissociated from wrong view. Only the difference here. Dissociated with the wrong view. There's no wrong view, but you are happy to do it. Unprompted. Unprompted means without, you do it very, by yourself, without any force by 1 person, right? I think we will go one by one later. So this is the number 4 is different prompted, right? The rest are the same. But here, you can look at here, accompanied by joy, accompanied by joy, accompanied by joy, accompanied by joy. So these are Somanasa Cheta, right? Somanasa. And wrong view, we have 2 wrong view, right? Number 1 and number 2. Number 3 and number 4, without wrong view. So you know it is not good, but you still do it, right? So I will give you with the example later, right? Later. Another 4 is different, only different equanimity, equanimous feeling. The rest are the same. Number 5, accompanied by equanimity. So when you do something without trying, you do it, right? But in your company, so you're forced to do unwholesome things, right? By your boss. So by force, right? But you are not happy to do it. Equanimous feeling, right? Equanimous feeling like this. So the rest are the same. So I think one by one, so we will learn later. Giving the example, right? So therefore, Abhidhamma is very precise, very precise. Sometimes it is a bit difficult to compare with Abhidhamma teachings and Sutta teachings. Sometimes not the same, right? What is wrong view? Deity. Deity means seeing and interpreting things wrongly. It is a general interpretation. So you see it wrongly. You see it not in their true natures, right? In it, you see it's not right way. So wrong view is normally used with the prefix miccha deity, wrong view. It is the opposite of right view, samma deity. So if you understand right view, you understand wrong view. If you understand wrong view, you understand right view. So therefore, the Buddha in Digha Nikaya, the first sutta is called Samiññaphala. Brahmajala Sutta. So in that sutta, the Buddha explained 62 type of wrong views. So if you want to know more about wrong views, you go to Digha Nikaya, Sutta number 1. Brahmajala Sutta. You go there, right? It's very significant. Why the Buddha preach? Not the Buddha. Why senior monks who are in the first Buddhist council, who arrange all the Buddha's teachings, who classify teachings of the Buddha as a Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya, Samyutta Nikaya, Anguttara Nikaya, Khuddaka Nikaya, like this. So actually very significant. They put Brahmajala as the number 1. So the reason is, in the Sutta, the Buddha explained some 62 type of wrong views. So when you have one understanding, so when you have one understanding about the Dhamma, so you have to know 62 type of wrong views. So if your understanding is not within those list, that list, it is wrong. It is right view. It is right view, right? So you have to compare with the 62 type of wrong views, right? So if you understand wrong views, so the rest are right view, right? So very important. The Buddha preached Brahmajala Sutta the first time. So therefore, want to explain 5 type of right views. So if you understand right views, you understand wrong views. So if I'm talking 62 type of wrong views, I think you will not have patience, right? I think better go and read. Better go and read. I think it's the best to base on Samadhi Sutta from Majjhima Nikaya. So in that Sutta, Venerable Sariputta explained that, so if you understand the root of unwholesome, and the root of wholesome deed. That is right view. If you do not understand, you have a wrong view, right? Wrong view. Maybe next week I will explain based on that, right? Based on that. But here is according to commentaries. Number 1, Kamma Sakata Samadeti. Right view that karma produce its fruits. Sentient beings have the karma as their property. So you have the view that, so if you do killing, stealing, and you will have a bad result. If you have such type of mentality, that is right view. If you think that killing is good, if I kill my enemy, the enemy of my religion, I have to go to heaven, right? That's the wrong view. So what I mean is, we have to base on the root, right? The root. So you are killing somebody because you have craving toward your religion, right? You do it with the greed, expecting something. You are expecting that you will have a rebirth in heaven if you are killing the enemy of my religion, right? Like this. So we have to base on wholesome root, we have to decide whether it's good or bad. So here, not only that, I have a problem, suppose. I have a lot of problem that I can't accept my situation. That's wrong view, based on wrong view. You don't have this understanding. Kamma Sakata Samadeti. Sentient beings have the karma as their property. Because I have a problem, a lot of problem, because I do a lot of bad things. Only if I understand like this, that will be right view, right? So if I do not understand, so I cannot accept my situation, a lot of suffering, right? A lot of suffering. Based on wrong view, problem arise. Then we saw some people are very successful in business, politics. Some are very handsome and beautiful, right? We cannot accept why he is so rich, why I'm so ugly, why he is so beautiful, like this. We cannot accept, we cannot congratulate the achievement of other people, right? So that means we cannot accept the beings have the karma as their property. Because they become rich, they try hard, right? They do business properly, and they are handsome because they are bad karma, right? In previous life, they have done a lot of good deed, right? Therefore, they are handsome like this. So you can accept the beings are owner of their good and bad deed, right? So if you have that right view, you can accept a good and bad, fortune of yourself and other people, right? So that is number 1 is, so if you do not understand here, the result of karma, and also the beings are owner of their karma. If you do not understand this concept, so that is the wrong view, right? That is the wrong view. And number 2, Vipassana Samadhi is a little bit higher. This one is a little bit higher. Right view or insight, which investigates formations as a impermanence, suffering, and non-self. So if you just see it, you may not understand. Actually, it's very easy. Mind arises and disappears. Then our body changing all the time, right? So if you have a very sharp concentration, you know it by yourself. So that is Vipassana Samadhi, the right view based on Vipassana. Because you can see your mind, you can see your body by yourself. So therefore, you have right view about the mind, the body, right? Actually, this knowledge or insight is very important. So if you have this, actually this is a conceptual and intellectual understanding, not real understanding. But real understanding means only when you become Sotapanna, the real understanding. But of course, before you become Sotapanna, so just intellectually, right? Intellectually. And also conceptually you understand, right? So actually, even conceptual level is very helpful. When somebody dies in your family, you can accept it. You know it is the nature of impermanence, right? You're not crying. You're not crying. So in this way, you can avoid, right? Suffering, soka. So this is a second type of right view. So if you do not have this type of right view, that's me, wrong view, right? Wrong view. As a ordinary people, if you have even number one, I think it helps you a lot, right? It helps you a lot. So in your company, if you think that people get promotion very quickly, why I'm staying in the like this, right? Because we have to appreciate, right? Achievements, success. Number one right view, right? Number three, Magga Samadhi. Actually, the moment you attain, you become Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahant, right? Right view of the path which arises as a consequence or insight. So this is a Four Noble Truths. Well, actually, we have to learn this one, Magga, four path. It is in the supramundane level, right? Then Phala Samadhi. This is also another four consciousness. It is among the 8 supramundane consciousness. Right view of fruit, the fruit which arise as a consequence of the path. So if you do not understand this one, don't worry. So we have to go there. So when we learn supramundane consciousness, so I will explain in detail, very details. But if you do not understand, feel free. It's very important. It's very important to clarify. The last one, so when you become Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Arahant, then you have right view, right knowledge, and also knowledge of deliverance. Knowledge of deliverance. So these are 5 types of right views according to commentaries. But tomorrow I will explain according to the suttas. Not tomorrow, sorry, next week. Next week. According to Samadhi Sutta. So I think according to Sutta is much clearer, right? So if you do not have right view, that means you have a wrong view. 2 sides of the same coin, right? 2 sides of the same coin. Okay, any question? The difference between wrong view and ignorance, right? Because ignorance is the cause of everything. The cause of everything. Ignorance, we normally interpret not knowing. This one also very closely connected with the wrong view. Because ignorance means understanding the way it is. So you understand the root of unwholesome deed as the root of unwholesome deed. So that is, how to say, if you have moha, ignorance, you cannot see it, right? Then in Vipassana level, if you cannot see the nature of impermanence, the nature of mind and body, that's called ignorance. So based on ignorance, you have a wrong view. You think that your mind is permanent. So actually very closely connected. So therefore in some of the sutta, the Buddha said that ignorance is forerunner of everything. If you have ignorance, and wrong view follow. Right? Very closely connected. So ignorant means not knowing the reality. But wrong view means based on that you have a wrong interpretation or wrong understanding. Right? It's different. Any question? Sorry? Sorry? I can't. Yeah. So sorry. There is a problem. I can't hear. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Actually, as I say, it is a two sides of the same coin, right? So if you have wrong view, you don't have a right view. So if you have a right view, you don't have a wrong view. Dissociated from wrong view means you have a right view. Sometimes you understand that stealing the property of other people is not good. But you have a right view. But you steal it. So therefore, disassociated from wrong view, but happily you steal it. Like this, right? So actually, dissociated from wrong view means you have a right view. Yeah. Thank you. And then time is up. Thank you for the question. So we will close our lesson now. Yovaradam Pavaro Manu Jesu Sakyamuni Bhagavakata Kecho Paragato Bala Viriya Samangi Dan Sukatan Saranatamu Pemi Raga Viraga Mani Jama Sokam Dhamma Masanga Dhamma Patikulam Marurami Mambagunan Suvipatan Dhamma Mimam Saranatamu Pemi Yatha Chati Nama Apalamahu Chatusu Susisu Puri Sayugesu Attacha Pogala Dhammadasate Sangami Mansara I was saying